Welcome back to Headlines and Heartlines, a podcast where we talk with the people shaping Liberty County and the surrounding area. I'm Vanessa Brazier, owner and publisher of Bluebonnet News of Texas. Judicial races are often overlooked on the ballot, and even though district court judges handle some of the most serious and criminal and civil cases in Texas, the person elected to this bench plays a significant role in how justice is administered in our communities. It's a tough job, but somebody has to do it. Joining me today is Josh Fitzgerald, a Republican candidate for the 253rd State District Court. Josh, thank you for taking the time to visit with me today.
Thank you for taking time to come visit with me and having me on your podcast. I appreciate it.
So to start, can you tell listeners a little bit about yourself and what led you to run for this court position?
Yes, ma'am. So I was born and raised in Moss Hill, as you know, because I've known you pretty much my whole life, I think. Yeah. I don't know, do I need to give some kind of disclaimer that your daughters are my cousins?
That's fine, you can say that too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Down there, like second once removed, I don't know what I can never remember what all those things were or something like that.
But so you went to Hardin School your whole life?
Yes, ma'am. I went to Hardin, elementary, middle school, high school. When I graduated from Hardin, I went to Texas A&M for my undergraduate. When I graduated from Texas A&M, I then moved to Austin and went to the University of Texas for law school, which I caught a little bit of flack for that, moving from A&M to Texas. But what I tell everybody is I got the best of both worlds on that one. So, but I root for Texas in football games unless they're playing for A&M because I'm a little bit of both.
So which one do you prefer?
I have to go A&M if they're playing each other.
A&M,
yes,
okay.
That's
so that's where your heart is.
Yes,
okay. So can you explain to people a little bit about your legal background and what?
Oh, did you want me to finish though?
Yeah.
Why I'm?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I don't know. The question was what?
What led you to run?
Well, yeah, sorry, I didn't finish. I think I stopped before I finished talking.
Yeah.
As far as what led me to run, I think the thought first crossed my mind. I think a few years ago I heard that Judge Kane had moved from Liberty to Cove, and it kind of became like this. One of those worst kept secrets in the courthouse that they were probably going to open another court sometime in Chambers County. I think that's the intention of the legislature, eventually get there, and that eventually he would maybe want to move to be all in Chambers County since that's where he lives.
We need another court.
Yeah, no, I think that's very true. I agree with that. So I guess just when first heard that probably every lawyer in town starts thinking, oh, well, who's going to be next, to fill that seat. So I started thinking about it a little bit, and during that process, I just started thinking about how things are with the court, kind of the transitions we're going through as a community. Some of the things that we can try to do better, try to make more efficient, and things like that. And the more I started thinking about it, the more I started thinking, well, why not take a stab at it now and see? Why wait however many years?
Yeah.
Just give it a go. If you feel like you can do it well, then try now and do what you can. And that's why I'm here.
That's a tough fight, though, against someone who's been a judge for a long time.
Absolutely, I understand. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you got a tough one on your hands.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
So, can you explain what your legal background is? How long have you been an attorney?
Yes, ma'am. I have been an attorney for 18 years.
Okay, golly.
It's a long time. I think I listened to Judge Marandino's podcast with you. I think she's been practicing 5 years longer than me. So
I didn't realize it'd been that long.
Yeah, time flies. There's a lot of gray hair up here. A lot of that's from 18 years of legal practice. So
just color it.
I'll just leave it. I'm fine. So when I graduated from law school, I initially moved to Dallas, and I went to work for.
Yeah, he keeps banging his hand down. I told him.
Yeah, I'm making noises outside, gesturing my hands. So I originally moved to Dallas, went to work for a big litigation law firm. They call it AmLaw 200. It's one of the 200 biggest in the nation. They had offices all over the world. Did that for a couple years. Then I didn't particularly like living in Dallas. So I wanted to move back closer to home. Moved back to Houston. I then went to work for a regional litigation boutique firm in downtown Houston.
But did you like Houston?
Well, I'm back in Moss Hill now, if that tells you anything. Yeah. But I was in Houston for a while. I definitely liked it better than Dallas.
Yeah.
So I did work there for a while.
Dallas is a little frou-frou.
Yeah, it's just not my style. I do have good friends there. And
there's a lot of money there. It's a great place.
Sure, but it's not home. It's not even Houston feels more like home than Dallas does.
Yeah.
But Houston still is home. But
yeah, Liberty County's home.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it is. And so, but I went to work for that firm in Houston, worked there for 4 or 5 years. And that's where I would say I got my, like, real training on being a lawyer. It was when you work for those big firms, you're working, but you're doing stuff that's, you're just a peon doing document review. But when you get to those litigation boutiques, they throw you in the fire, first day. And so it was great. I mean, that's how you learn. That's how I got my experience.
Yeah. Trial by fire.
I tell people that's when I was taught to be a lawyer during that time. So I worked there for a while. Then I actually, for a quick minute, decided it was time to come home. So I started to practice in Liberty. I was here, I think, 6 to 8 months. It was going well, but then I got a phone call, and then I just got a job opportunity that I couldn't pass up at the time.
Back in Houston?
Yes, ma'am. I was about to get married, and someone I knew called me, and they had an in-house counsel position open at one of the biggest real estate firms in Houston.
Okay.
So I just couldn't pass it up.
Yeah.
It just one of those time of life kind of situations.
Especially getting married.
Yes, ma'am. And I got the call literally a month before my wedding, so we decided it was right for us to take that job, so I moved back to Houston.
Is she a Houston girl?
No, ma'am. She's been all over. My wife, Barbara, was born in Italy, actually.
Okay.
She's not Italian. She was born in Italy her dad was in the military. Once he got out of the military, they kind of moved all over because he worked for military contractors. Yeah. So I think they went from Georgia to Detroit to San Diego, eventually to Houston.
And y'all met in college, or?
We met when I had moved to Houston and was working there.
Okay.
Just a random encounter. We went out to dinner. A friend of mine was dating a girl that she worked with.
It just worked
out.
We
ended up at the same place, happened to sit next to each other eating crawfish, and
been together since then?
Pretty much, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So it was, very lucky to have met her, and
y'all have how many kids?
We have 2 little boys. Yes, ma'am. We have a 3-year-old named Philip, and then almost 1-year-old in a few days named Henry.
So Philip's named after your dad.
Yes, ma'am.
And is Henry significant?
Henry is the name my wife wanted, but also it happens to be significant because, well, I didn't know this till after, but it was also my dad's grandfather's name.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I call him Hank because he looks and acts like a Hank to me. So he's just a little bowling ball. But it's fun. But yeah, they keep us busy for sure.
That's good. Okay, so.
Yes, ma'am. Back to work for the real estate firm. And I was there for almost 10 years, I think. And then we decided we were about to get ready to have kids. And that really triggers it. Like, I do not want to be in Houston.
You didn't want to raise your children there.
I guess that's the final nail in the coffin. Like, no, we gotta go home.
Yeah, and your parents probably wanted your kids to be closer to home,
yes,
so they could see them.
And now they're probably too close because we moved back home and then we live next door to them now. So we have built-in babysitters, and I think they get a little worn out from it. But yes, ma'am. But it's great. We moved back.
It's best for the kids.
Absolutely, I love it. I told my dad the other day one of my favorite things is seeing my sons play with my parents.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I grew up next to my grandparents, so I was at their house pretty much every day or every other day.
Yes, ma'am.
As often as my mother would allow.
That's how it is. My 3-year-old, he thinks the phrase next door just means his nan and papa's house. So wherever we are, he's like, I want to go next door.
I want to go next door. Yeah, wherever they are. So how do you feel your legal background has prepared you to serve as a district court judge?
Yes, ma'am. I have, I think it helps me because I have a very diverse legal background. Kind of like I mentioned, I've worked at all different kinds of places, from the giant law firms to the specialized boutique firms, and the whole time I've done litigation, which I think helps prepare you because that's, a trial attorney, that's what you're doing, you're in court all the time. Also, even when I was an in-house counsel, the way it was structured is we handled a lot of our stuff in-house, so it wasn't just passing off to outside counsel, stuff like that. We did a multitude of things, transactional and litigation. So it's really a pretty wide range of things I've handled, and I've practiced in courts all over Texas, even to the appellate courts.
Have you represented criminal cases very often?
Yes, I have some. I don't have as much experience in criminal as I do civil litigation. Okay. but I have some. When I originally came to Liberty, I did lots of misdemeanor cases and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then I've done some
misdemeanor criminal cases.
Misdemeanor criminal cases, and also have some experience with
felonies.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm not unfamiliar with it.
For the readers who don't understand, can you explain what type of cases go before the 253rd?
Yes, ma'am. So it is all felony cases go before the 253rd. Also civil matters that there's limits, monetary limits to the other courts. So the bigger civil matters go to the district court, the 253rd and the 75th. Also family law cases. So that's the majority of stuff handled there. Okay. I think any kind of litigation related to trust and stuff like that has to be in the district court.
So what drew you to a district court position rather than another judicial position within the legal system?
As far as another position, I mean, I guess there's different ways to look at it. There's different courts, or other positions like county attorney or district attorney, but also I am in the legal system because I'm just an attorney.
Yeah.
I think it's that's what I feel is suited for me. I think it's, and like I said before, the idea really first came in my head when I first heard the judge came and moved and was maybe going to Chambers County. So
timing,
a lot of that comes to timing, I think, and opportunity. Just like I think we're dealing with that in the 75th, and you have 4 people, running because the seat came open type situation.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of important races that are being contested this time.
Yes, ma'am. There really are.
It's an interesting election season.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting covering it all.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. So let's talk about you transitioning to the bench if you're elected.
Yes, ma'am.
So as a judge, as a attorney, you are an advocate for your client, but you would have to move to a neutral decision maker in a major case. How do you approach that shift in your mindset?
I think you just become an advocate for the law, whatever is the law says and requires. I think that was one of my strengths as a litigation attorney is I could always very much see the other side of things, and so I think you need that to have effective arguments that you're making for your position. But that was always something I felt like I excelled at, is being able to see things both sides. So I think you take that skill and then apply it to not using it to make your side better, but using it to decide, hey, this is what the law says. This is how it applies to these facts. This is what it requires. This is what we have to do. This is what's right.
Yeah. So how do you plan to ensure impartiality when you have previously represented clients? Because that may put you in a...
Yeah,
you have to recuse yourself move it to a different court?
Yes, ma'am. I think the first thing, there's rules requiring recursal and dealing with recusal. So that's the number one thing is you just do what the law requires.
Yeah.
Also, funny story, I was in front of Judge Moorfield, and he came out and told us that the opposing counsel's client, he had represented them before, told us what happened in the case and everything, and then asked if I wanted him recused, and I said no. Actually, if that's how you felt about the law, as long as you're going to apply the law, I'm okay.
Yeah. And
I really hope as a judge that people would eventually feel that way about me, that they know no matter who's represented that they're going to get the same from me no matter what. But absolutely, you have to err on the side of caution with that every time, because you would never want to give any kind of hint of impropriety or bias, because that's what it's all about. Even unconscious bias, you don't want to let that play into any of your decisions.
What a big vacuum his retirement caused.
Yes, ma'am.
He was just such a great judge.
Yes, ma'am, he was.
So what do you see as the biggest learning curve as a first-time judge?
I think for any first-time judge, it's just the fact that you've never been a judge before. It's a whole different process, whole different perspective. So a lot of it's just getting used to it. I think for all of us running and current judges, we've been learning the law since law school, and we continue to learn every year. So I think learning the law stuff, we've kind of got that down.
And the laws change every
yes, ma'am. So you have to continue to learn every year, no matter what position in the system you're in. So I think that kind of comes naturally to us. I think it's more about just adjusting your perspective to the position, and learning the ins and outs of how all the things work. And that's what we need to do, and we're going to have to do that, because no matter what, with time, we just need to try to get better and better, no matter who's doing it. Yeah. And so you just learn the system and see what you can do to make things better.
Can you explain to people how the 253rd works alongside the other courts in the county?
Yes, ma'am. So there are 2 district courts, and then there's also the county courts at law.
2 of them.
Yeah, 2 county courts at law, which are constitutional courts. And so the way it works, the district courts, like they have different subject matter jurisdiction, but the district courts have some cases they can assign down to the other courts. And I believe the regional administrative judge, they've already like assigned each other so they can, when they need help from the other judges, they can get it. I know right now Judge Kane, and I'm not sure about Judge Marandino, when they get certain family law cases, they send them to Judge Hitch. And that's kind of the process flow now. So it really is, there's so many cases, our county's getting so big that there's just a lot to be done. So it's a balance of finding who has the different, time for different things and working together. I think it really is a balancing act between the courts, and you have to be able to work with the other judges.
Well, since you mentioned the growth, I'm going to skip ahead and then come back to some of my other questions. But so Liberty County is growing fast.
Absolutely. I think I want to say number 2 in the state growth wise, or is it higher?
So I
looked recently, and I thought I saw something where
at one time I think it was the highest.
Yeah, that Liberty and Chambers County are both in the top 10.
Yeah.
So which is crazy.
I would rather us not be in the top 10.
I think a lot of people would, and that's that's part of it. We got to figure out a way to deal with it, and but also maintain that. Our principles, our values, and things that make it home. Like
I just don't want to lose the small town feel of Liberty County, where people still know each other.
I know. I tried to get away from the city to come out here with my family.
It's like I don't want that to
I don't want it to chase me.
Yeah, I don't want all the growth to come to where you don't know who your neighbors are, and you don't you don't know who your city representatives are, your county representatives are.
Yeah, and that was a big decision for me because I'm sure you feel the same way. When you're from out here, it's part of you. It really is. And it's been part of me throughout my whole life. Everywhere I've gone, all over the world, people know that I'm from Moss Hill, Texas, And
Moss Hill's a pretty wonderful place.
It is a very wonderful place. And I want my sons to have that too.
Just don't come here.
Yeah, stay away. It's
stay away.
Nice to visit.
Don't come here. We only have one restaurant.
Right, it's a really good one.
It's a good one, but don't come here to live.
Yes, but I want my sons to have that too. I don't want them to just grow up in some concrete jungle where it's just another suburb or anything like that. So.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to maintain it. My husband always asks me, how much land do you want to own? I'm like, as much as I can, because I don't want all the growth to come.
Yes, ma'am.
I just don't want it here, I want to try to protect
Unfortunately, I think
it.
it's inevitable at this point. It's just a matter of how we handle it.
Yeah, I just need to keep all the growth on the west side. That would be okay. So let's get some more into the growth since we talked about it. So how does the population growth impact the district court system aside from just a bigger number of cases?
Well, that's the number one thing. It puts an overload. I think not just the district court system. It puts an overload on all of our institutions and systems. So it's something we have to deal with, and it's a process we have to figure out. We have to figure out a way to become more efficient, get things moving. We can't become overwhelmed by it. Just like we talked about, we probably need another district court at some point. How quick the legislature is going to be.
And then where would you put it would become the question.
Right. But I think it definitely affects that. It's just you can't look past the volume that brings.
Yeah.
But also, like we talked about, it brings new people in, and so
sometimes with problems.
There more people, more problems.
I remember a time when we would be surprised to have one murder or two murders, and now it's. We're getting multiples a year, and that's been kind of sad to see.
Ma'am. It really
I've been in journalism so long that I remember when one murder was a surprise.
Right, yeah, you just never hear of it.
And now it's like, we had another one. It's just, I kind of wish for the old at times, at least for the crime part.
Yes, ma'am.
So
that's part of it is just dealing with new people, and also, and even in small ways that you talked about before, when you maintain that impartiality, if it's the hometown person versus the new person that lives, you just met them, they just moved here.
Everybody's going to be treated fair.
Still have to treat everybody equally under the law. And so I mean, that's just a human nature thing that we all have to deal with, and
Yeah.
judges, I think, just have to be cognizant of that, and then
And that can be awkward and uncomfortable.
Sure, and it can. I think that's something you have to know going into it. You just have to deal with that.
Yeah. So how important is it to have cooperation between the judges, the prosecutors, defense attorney, and court staff in order to move that case log along?
Sure. I don't even know if the word is cooperation, but the way I look at it is it's an ecosystem where every part of the ecosystem is very important and needs to be working in balance with the rest of the parts of the ecosystem. So you don't want conflict or friction or things out of whack. So I think you have to just learn to work with each other, learn the responsibilities and duties of the other one, know where they're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
how you handle that. And learn the people too, because there's different personalities of people, and people change out. There's different, assistant district attorneys come in, different staff. So you just have to learn the people and have some adaptability, because you have to figure out how to work things together, because if one piece of the puzzle breaks, the system kind of crumbles.
How do you ensure that the people are guaranteed a speedy trial whenever we have such a case backlog? I know that the judges are trying to get through it. But how do you ensure that the defendants get a speedy trial? They're entitled to that.
Absolutely. I think the number one thing is you have to set expectations.
Okay.
As far as lawyers, I mean, you probably hear this, lawyers work best on deadlines. And lawyers,
so give them a deadline and make them stick to it.
And what we as lawyers really want, I think whether you admit it or not, we want to be told, we're all about rules and stuff. We want to be told, hey, this is the way it is, this is the way we're operating. And we'll do that. When there's unpredictability, then you have those situations where you have a lawyer expecting to come get their fourth continuance just because, and you're like, no, we don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have to hold people to task.
Yeah.
But if you get that system in place to where it's like that, people
then the expectations
are there, and then people will appreciate it. And on both sides, I can't tell you how many times I've been to court. I mean, I've been to court before where on the day of the trial, we had spent weeks preparing for the trial. And that's somebody's money spent on us getting ready for trial.
Oh, yeah, you have to bring witnesses, and you have to bring like experts and everything into town, and pay for airfare.
Absolutely. So you spend all that money getting ready for trial and all your time.
Yeah.
And then you walk into court, and this was in Harris County. You walk into court, and the other side
isn't ready.
Just wasn't ready, so they ask for a continuance and gets granted like that. And you're like,
oh my God, yeah. How much money is that wasted?
Thousands of dollars.
And then not only that, it's wasting the jurors' time.
Yes, ma'am, and resources. So it's frustrating. It really is. I mean, I've been in a position where it's frustrating to me being on the opposite side of it. But I think it's, like you said, it's frustrating to people that are paying their attorneys that have to pay them for multiple times. It's frustrating to victims. It's frustrating to people that are accused of things that want to get, like you said, have a speedy trial and get to justice.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing with that is to set expectations and then hold people to task on it. Mm-hmm. And I think ultimately people will appreciate that because they'll have some predictability. They know how things are going to operate, and it'll help the system flow more smoothly.
How do you think that we can increase people turning out for jury duty? Because that's been an issue this past year where people didn't turn out and they had to postpone trials. And
I've heard that is an issue. And now I think I also heard Judge Meredith saying it's gotten a little bit better, so hopefully that trend continues. I think, one of the things, I mean, you can hold people to task on that too. You don't necessarily want to,
certainly not a popular thing to have to go after someone for not showing up.
Sure. So I think you need to balance that with maybe just creating awareness. You know, we do a lot of things that we try to make the community aware of. And that can be something that the county might need to focus on. That we, do something to have a campaign or something to make awareness like, hey, you have placed us in these positions and you've given us this responsibility, but you still have responsibility as a juror. Mm-hmm. And that's actually, when it comes down to it, the most important responsibility in the entire legal system. Yeah. So you can't be mad at any other part of the legal system failing or, being what you don't want it to be.
You don't show up
if you're not contributing your part. And so I don't think people think of it that way because it's not their everyday thing. So even just trying to raise awareness, I think would be very helpful with that.
And if you are worried about, like, let's say a person of color is in court and and only 12 jurors show up, but then several of them get themselves disqualified or they don't want to be on the jury, well then how's that person going to feel like they've gotten a fair trial if no one on the jury represents
Absolutely.
So that's the challenge.
Yeah, you're entitled to a jury of your peers. Yeah. And the thing about that is,
and you want it to be fair and equal.
You absolutely want it to be fair. And I know this is probably, you can have lofty goals and never achieve them, but the goal every time should be, even if someone is on the wrong side of a decision that they don't like, that they walk out of there believing that they got a fair shake.
Okay. And that's tough sometimes.
And that's absolutely tough. But that's
some people are never going to be happy with it.
But that's the goal you want, that they can disagree, but they cannot say that wasn't fair.
Right.
You have to do whatever you can to make sure there's no wiggle room there, because then it becomes a trust thing, and you don't want that to happen.
So this one may be a little bit hard for you to explain, but I guess you probably could think about how you would do it. You're not a judge yet. If you get elected, what would you think your judicial philosophy would be? Besides fairness, what would you?
Sure, yeah. I think it always starts with fairness. You do not have bias, and then my philosophy is to patiently and humbly apply the law to the facts. And I say patiently because a lot of times people want to know why.
Yeah.
You can't just say, this is my order. Sometimes you're going to have to explain things. And I want people to have an understanding of what's going on, why I'm making my decisions, things like that. And I say humbly because it should never be a position where you feel like you're there because people put you there as their representative. So that's the way I see it, is you are the community's representative because they saw you as a person that they wanted to make those hard decisions for people. And so I think you have to have a lot of humility to accept that responsibility and do it in a way that you're serving the community. Even the people that are, say somebody's found guilty of a crime, they're still part of our community. You're still serving them by providing them a fair judge, and even if they end up with a verdict like that.
So there's going to be cases that you have that are going to get criticism.
Absolutely.
And so how should judges handle public criticism of the cases that come before them? Should they just be silent? Should they just stand on what they've done? Or do you have a philosophy for that?
Sure. I would hope you stand on what you've done, or you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
That's the first part of it. As far as responding to criticism, I mean, that could depend on the situation, depend on where the criticism's coming from. Like, I don't think a judge should get involved in some Facebook back and forth or anything like that ever.
No.
If it's
you never win in a Facebook argument. No one wins.
No one wins, and no one even wants to hear an actual argument. But if there's a situation that requires, like, there's a very high-profile case, and that you need to, hopefully you've done this with the people directly involved, but it's something that the community needs to hear something from the judge about, their ruling and what went on. I think that's fair. That can become an accountability thing, but I don't think judges should ever be at a level where they're just bickering back and forth about something like that.
So have you sat down and looked at the number of cases that have gone through that courtroom and looked to see if you have an idea of how you could improve things?
Yes, ma'am. I have. There's a lot of cases that go through it, and I've gone through the numbers in Liberty and Chambers County, and like I said, the first thing I have is the whole setting accountability and things like that. I mean, it's different for different types of cases, and as far as like on the civil side, I think first day, I've seen this in other courts where first day out, you get a document controller that sets your trial date, and so from the moment you start, we have a timeline running down. Because oftentimes you can get in situations with those kind of cases where if there's not a trial date set, then it can linger and linger and linger. And again, like as attorneys, I'll put a lot of this on attorneys in general, is if we don't have a deadline, it's on the back burner because we have other deadlines that we're having to deal with.
Yeah, it's a deadline-oriented business.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
like newspapers.
Absolutely. You know how that goes. Like you deal with
every day is a deadline.
Exactly. You deal with the deadline that is in front of you. So I mean, I don't mean this in a harsh way, but sometimes you have to put deadlines in front of people to force their hand. Because the thing is, the courts can't be efficient. Like we talked about the ecosystem, the courts can't be efficient unless all the players are also being efficient. That includes the attorneys involved. So I think that's you hold them to task on that. And with that, I mean, you can't give unlimited continuances for a case. They need to know, like, You get one continuance, that second one, you better have a really
good reason.
It can't be your dog ate your homework or something like that.
You're not prepared.
Yes, ma'am.
Or you couldn't meet with your client.
Right, you need to make time for it. So
it is challenging right now meeting with clients, though, when they're being housed all over the area.
That's a difficulty as far as the criminal side of it. Absolutely. And so you have to... you have to be aware of that and take that into account for sure.
Plan for it.
We plan for it.
It takes a lot of time to travel to some of these jails.
Yes, ma'am. And I think on the criminal side of things, it goes back to the same thing, setting expectations. I know there's guidelines out there now about when the state kind of wants you to do it. And those are great guidelines. I don't think you're going to be perfect 100%. No one is. The best judge in the world is not going to have every case resolved in 6 months. It's not going to happen. No. Impossible. So I think you have to use those guidelines as guidelines, shoot for them, but also it goes back to the same thing, even with whether it's defense attorneys or the prosecutor's office. I mean, you set those expectations and they know what's coming and they know that, hey, once that case gets to a certain date, you're going on the trial docket and it's go time. So you better figure something out.
You better have your ducks in a row.
And you absolutely better. And I know, and I have a felony case right now that, I think it's been a year and a half and now it's going through the system, but that's a lot of time you spend going down there for resets. It's money to people, and also they want justice. They want to,
and for taxpayers it's their money, because most of people are coming without the ability to pay for their attorneys.
Absolutely. And then I think that's one thing that people don't understand is that all that the clog in the system, the backlog, it
impacts everybody.
It impacts everybody, especially people's wallets, because it requires resources. It's not just it's not.
And the
just
murder trials are the hardest sometimes.
Absolutely.
Or the child sex assault cases where you've got multiple victims.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you can't ignore that aspect of it, because it goes back to, like, when you're in that position, you're accountable to the people that put you there in some form of fashion, including you don't want to waste any of their hard-earned tax dollars. I think we have DC wasting enough of our money.
Minneapolis or Minnesota.
Right. So we don't need to waste it here.
So is there anything that you would like, so before they go to the polls, is there anything you would like voters to understand about you that would help them make a decision?
I think we've probably touched on a lot of it, but the main thing is that I really do see this as an opportunity to serve. I think that's what the position is, and it's a position of service. It's a position of service to the community. It's a position of service to families, to victims, to defendants, to everyone. And I think that's the way I would approach it. I think what I try to do, I'm probably not always successful at this, is you need to approach everything with humility. And I think that'll make you better. I'm not going to go into it thinking I know everything.
Nobody knows everything.
Nobody knows everything, and the one thing I do know, and I've known this throughout my life and every aspect of it, is the more I learn, the better. And I think I do believe that I can get in there and just try to help make things better. I think we're at a transitional time, and I appreciate the service and time people have put in the past. I don't mean discount that at all. That's wonderful. But that doesn't mean you can't want to change things too and want to push things better and forward and make them better. Okay, so I end all of these interviews with fun, rapid-fire questions. There's no right or wrong answers, I promise you. There's no gotchas. So I just ask these questions just so people can kind of get an idea of who you are a little bit better. So, prepared notes or thinking on your feet? I think in our profession, you have to do both.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. I don't. There's nothing worse than being in a courtroom unprepared. I'll tell you that. It unintentionally had that happen to me before, but also once the judges can be unforgiving. Absolutely, but once you get in there, you better be able to think on your feet, or you're going to sink very quickly. Yeah. So I think I always shoot for being as prepared as possible, but know that I have to be able to adapt if it comes. Favorite way to unwind after a hard day? Playing with my little boys. That's a good one. I walk in the house, and every time I walk in the house, I say, "Where are my boys at?" And I hear my oldest like, "It's Daddy." He's like, "We're here." And then the other one's just cackling at him because he's laughing. I can never have a bad day these days because of that. And so that's how I spend my time. Once I get home, it's rolling on the floor, throwing them up in the air, and just having a good time. Yes, ma'am.
Driving back roads or driving highways?
Oh, back roads for sure.
They're the best.
We
We have some really nice ones in
I
Hardin
do.
Marcel area.
Yeah, so I do this all the time. My wife gets annoyed with me when I do it, but so when I was a kid, we drove the back roads all the time, and
That's where we taught our kids to drive.
right, yeah, for sure. I probably shouldn't say this, but I was probably driving before I was supposed to be driving on the back roads.
So we're fine.
But I would drive to school on the back road that goes by Tanner Settlement or whatever, it's beautiful out there.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And so if it's a pretty day, we'll get to the coming home or something. We'll get to that intersection hard, and I'll hang a right. And she's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I just want to drive the back road. I just want to see it." So I do that all the time. I definitely prefer back roads.
I drove. Let's see, what road was it? I drove down to Anahuac the other day, and we were driving. I was riding with my youngest daughter, Alexia, and Jada. That was in the car with me, and we passed by some areas, and it was just like, God, it's just beautiful to be out here with the wildlife and to see the birds taking off, and it's just we have some pretty areas around here.
We do. I don't know if it's when just being young or because you've been here all your life, but I don't think I appreciate it as much.
You take it for granted.
I took it for granted, but then when you're gone for a little while, and like I said, you're in that concrete jungle for a while, then you're like, man, I just miss.
You have a renewed appreciation for home.
Yes, man.
So Friday night football or Friday night quiet?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Because Hardin just went to the championship.
Hardin did. I'm so proud of them, by the way.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
My adopted grandchild by choice is Javion Watley. I love Javion.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, he's a member of my family by choice.
No, that was awesome. I'm very, very proud of them.
He's a quarterback.
As a Hardin alum, yeah.
No, he's not the quarterback.
He was a running back.
Running back. I got the position
wrong. They had
wrong.
a stud running back, a couple stud running backs, stud quarterback, stud everything.
And he's such a good kid.
Oh, yeah.
Just such a good kid.
I hear about that about a lot of them. So.
Oh yeah, Hardin's still got a lot of good people in it.
Yes, ma'am. So I don't know. At different points in my life, it's probably been different things.
So
right now, it's stay at home because
Friday night quiet.
But just because you're
kids
not taking a 1-year-old to a lot of football games yet. Eventually, I think it'll transition back to the Friday night lights.
Yeah, because you'll have to get to the boys' football games. Well, I know this answer: small town life or city life. So I know it's small town.
Small town life. Wouldn't trade it for anything.
Tex-Mex or barbecue?
Tex-Mex.
Yeah, Tex-Mex is pretty good.
Tex-Mex. I can't do without. I think I've said this before to people is that I could eat Mexican food every day and not get tired of it. So yeah, definitely Tex-Mex.
Do you have a favorite book?
Oh, I mean the Bible, I guess.
Besides from the Bible.
The Bible. I have a few favorite books actually. One that I read periodically is The Alchemist.
Okay.
So and the reason is it's easy to read. So it's a parable about basically living life, looking for treasure, and what you come to find out is it's usually right underneath you. So.
Oh, that's a good message.
Yes, ma'am.
I seem to read the book On Writing a lot by William Zinsser, and it basically because every once in a while I just need a refresher on paring things down and not getting too flowery with writing. So I read On Writing with William Zinsser, and it helps me get recentered. And it's kind of silly, but it's one of my favorite books. It's silly.
I'm glad you asked what book do I like. I got a question one time, and when I was coming out of law school, they do these things, they come interview at school, and then they'll fly you to the city to go interview. And I was interviewing in one of these big fancy firms. I was with the managing partner, and he's like, if you were stranded on an island, what book would you take and why?
What would you take?
I was sitting there saying, I thought of one of my favorite books and all these, I was like, I'm going to say this fancy book answer and all these cool things about the theme of it. He just looked at me with a dead face, and so I said all that, and he's like, I got that answer when I interviewed, and my book was Idiot's Guide to How to Survive on a Desert Island. And I was like, that's the best answer. I should have said that.
That's a good one. Okay, this one is local news or statewide news?
Oh, local news.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Porch sitting or yard work? Who does the yard work?
I do the yard work. Sometimes it takes a little prodding by my wife. I think I want to sit on the porch more than I get to sit on the porch, but she does a lot of the flower beds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have to carry the heavy
There
stuff.
are no flower beds at my house.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Zero flower beds.
What she'll tell you is that she doesn't either, so we kind of start flower beds and then they kind of go away and then next time we'll start them again.
So besides your parents' house, what is your favorite place to decompress in Liberty County?
In Liberty County, to decompress.
Do you go fishing? Do you go?
I do. Fishing, but that's behind my house, all of
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
fishing or hunting.
Yeah.
I love going hunting with my dad. We go with my nephew when he comes down for Christmas.
You just like to go out in the wilderness a
yes,
little
ma'am. Even behind our house, just walking out in the woods. I used to do that when I was a kid, drive the 4 out in the woods and just stop it and lay down and look up at the trees and watch the wind blow the trees.
That's one of the reasons I wanted land, is because I wanted my grandkids to have like an idyllic childhood where they could go fishing and hunting on their own land.
Yes, ma'am.
And they're doing that.
It's the best.
It is the best.
It really is.
And they just walk over to my house. So, best thing about practicing law in a small community?
You really get a sense. Let me rewind a little bit. When I was applying to law school, you had to write a paper about why you want to go. And so one of the things I wrote about is I believe that law had such an immense opportunity to help people and impact people in a positive way. And I think you really get to see that close up in a small community.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get me wrong, that lawyers that do all
It's just
kinds of
not
stuff
a face or
great,
a name.
but
It's
you
put a face to the name.
Right. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit different when you're going, and this is a great for experience, but
and everybody's related to everybody.
Yeah, but if you're in a courtroom representing some business and you're just arguing over a bunch of money for some business, it's different than when you're sitting there next to somebody and you're fighting for them to have time with their kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
different kind of passion,
it's
different
a
kind of objective.
different kind of effect on, and both are important, but it's a different kind of effect on the world and your immediate world and your community, and that's something I love about practicing out here.
Last question, you ready?
Sure.
One word to describe Liberty County.
Home.
It's a good one. Well, Josh, thanks for joining me today and sharing your perspective with our listeners. To my audience, thank you for tuning in to Headlines and Heartlines. I encourage you to learn more about all the candidates who are going to be appearing on your ballot on the March 3rd primary election. Be sure you take part in the democratic process. Get to know all of them and make an informed vote. I'm Vanessa Brazier with Blue Bonnet News, and I will see you next time.